This is Chris McGregor. The work of Discerning Hearts really could not continue without your prayers and support. Between now and December 31st, please consider making a year-end tax-deductible gift. Click the Donate button on discerninghearts.com or inside the Discerning Hearts free app. Your generous support will allow us to continue the programming you have come to expect from us, like those from Father Timothy Gallagher, Dr. Anthony Lillis, Monsignor John Esseff, Archbishop George Lucas, and so many more. Please prayerfully consider supporting our mission, which is dedicated to those on the spiritual journey. Thank you, and God bless from all of us at Discerning Hearts. What's on your heart today, Monsignor?
Today, this is the greatest feast and mystery that God who created all things, comes down to this little planet. I just don't have words for this. I was kind of stunned in the silence. And then Isaiah had words. Isaiah, and it's the last Mass of the day for Christmas. There's all kinds of words that prophets and people will say. But Isaiah is like crazy with joy as he is telling us how to proclaim this in the 16th chapter of Isaiah. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings glad tidings, announcing peace, bearing good news, announcing salvation, and saying to Zion, your God is King. Hark! Your sentinels raise a cry. Together they shout for joy, for they see directly before their eyes the Lord restoring Zion, right here and now. This is 800 years before he comes, and he's so filled with the truth. He's so filled with break out together in song, O ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord comforts his people. He redeems Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm. In the sight of all the nations, all the Gentiles are going to see it. The whole world, all the earth will see to the ends of the world and behold the salvation of our God. Now, when Jesus is born at Christmas, when you see Jesus being birthed into this world, he is the Son of God. And Hebrews tells us who this baby is. It's the beginning of the letter to the Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, in times past, God spoke in partial and various ways, through Isaiah, through the prophets, but in our time, he spoke to our ancestors through those prophets. But in our days, in these days, at last, he has spoken to us through the Son. In these last days, whom he made heir of all things. Who is this Jesus? And through whom he created all things. Just sit there in absolute wonder. Everyone who is listening to this, this news is for everyone. It's for you pagans. It's for you Muslims. It's for you atheists. It's for you, every person in the world, Buddhists, every human being. You live on this planet. God, who made the entire universe, has come down to this little speck called Earth. If you are a human being in this world, God, who created and sustains the universe, God, came down to this earth and became one with us for you. That's how much he loves you. Everyone, all the nations of the world, every single human being. You don't have to be a Christian, but you especially who are Christians, look at this baby and see God. The God who made the universe. This is a mystery, the incarnation. Look at your own flesh. See your own history. That little baby, like you, became a human being, and his name is Jesus. In times past, he came to us and spoke to us through the prophets. But now, through whom he created all things in the universe, who is the refulgence of the glory of God, the very imprint of his own being, and who sustains all things by his might. He is this baby, and he has come for you. When he had accomplished purification from sins, this child is going to grow up and suffer and die and rise. He's going to purify all things. He then takes his seat at the right hand of the majesty of God. That's what this Jesus did. This Jesus came to earth, lived with us for 33 years. He is as superior to the angels. And then the book of Hebrews goes on to say, as the name that he has inherited is more exalted than any other name, or the name of any angel. For to which of the angels did God ever say, you are my son, this day I have begotten you? Or again, I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me. And again, when he leads the firstborn into the world. Now do you know what that firstborn means? That means this Jesus is the firstborn, and you, whoever you may be, you can be joined to him. And those of you who are Christian are joined to him. He is the firstborn of all of those in this universe. Again, when he leads the firstborn into the world, he says, let all the angels of God worship him. This baby, when he came to earth, the angels, let all the angels of heaven worship him. He is the Savior of all mankind. Announced by the prophets, go tell it to all the nations, Isaiah said. And now he has come. And John, in his gospel, in the most powerful words, what are the words that we can announce this to you today, this Christmas day? They're the beginning of the Gospel of John. It's the prologue. John wants to tell you the origin of this baby. Who is he? Who is Jesus? Born on Christmas Day. He goes not back to the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. He doesn't go back to the Abraham and the lineage of the Jews. He goes back to the very throne of God. And so he's telling us the origin of Jesus. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Who is this Jesus? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, as we know and as we have read from the letter of the Hebrews. And without him, nothing came to be. He is the origin and creator of the universe. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Who is he? A man named John was sent from God. He came to testify, to give testimony to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, that's all of us, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, but the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, but his own people did not accept him. But to those who did accept him, he gave power to become children of God. To those who believe in his name, who were born not by natural generation, nor by human choice, nor by a man's decision, but of God. And the Word became flesh. His name is Jesus, and made his dwelling among us. And we saw his glory. He rose from the dead. He's ascended into glory. The glory as of the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, 'The one who is coming after me ranks ahead of me, because he existed before me.' From his fullness we have all received." That's Christmas. From his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace. This is Christmas. You have received from him grace in place of grace. Because while the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. The only Son, God, who is at the Father's side, has revealed him. That's what Christmas is. Look, see Jesus. Who is he? He is the only begotten. Pope Leo in the 5th century said, cry it out. He cried it out. The whole world today should be joyful. The whole world. And he knew the world of his time. He has come to this earth for the salvation of all of mankind, every human being in the entire world. Jesus has come from heaven down to earth for you and for me, for all of us. Every human being in that 5th century was saved by Jesus Christ. every human being in this 21st century. This is Christmas. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hill and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain. Jesus Christ is born. He is born into this world for you, for our salvation. Cry it out. Tell it to the world. This is Christmas. The light of the world has come into the world. He is here. We see it right in front of our eyes. Look at the infant. Jesus, the Savior, is here. He is in the world. And every single human being, how much does God love you? He is God, made flesh, a human, just like you. What is the mystery of Christmas? That God so loves me. If you're a member of ISIS and you have a heart full of whatever you have, but you believe in God, what is the God in whom you adore and love? La ilaha illallah. Come to this child. He's right there in the Quran. He was born of the Virgin Mary. Muhammad said that. Look at this baby. Today, come to know and be by this Jesus. Look at him today. Whoever you may be, if you're an atheist, if you're a scientist, atheist that doesn't believe, you don't have any faith, come and look at the child. Just look at what God, the world that you have studied, whatever your scientific knowledge has brought you to, come and look at the baby. If you're a Buddhist, if you're Jewish, Isaiah pronounced him. Jerusalem is going to be renewed. Wherever you may be, if you are a member of this earth, by all means, if you're a Christian, this baby, is the firstborn, and you are united with him. He is in you by water and the Holy Spirit. You have been joined to him. Whatever you may be in prison for many things, if you're listening to me, wherever you may be, fellow Christians, you are united with him. What did Pope Francis tell his curia? He gave them an examination of conscience. Look into the baby's eyes. See the innocent infant Jesus come to earth for our salvation, and know that his arms are wide open. What is the love that would have brought him down? What is the love of God who created the entire universe through him and with him and in him? Look at the child, and sustains you in existence and me. What is the love this Christmas? As I kneel in spirit before him, I really want to go over in my heart, and you can read them. Those 14 points are like an inventory, like an examination of conscience that he gave his bishops and the people around him in his curia. All of us who are in the church, Protestants or Orthodox or Catholics, can use these as a kind of a Christmas inventory of our union with Jesus Christ. Are we envious this Christmas? Are we judgmental this Christmas? Do we calumniate the names of one another? Do we destroy each other by our words? By our actions, do we despise anyone? He can purify us. Spend an hour at the crib, fellow Christians today. Just sit there and look at the pure love of God made manifest through Jesus Christ. The love that is poured out upon you and me on this Christmas day. Jesus is born today into our world. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Monsignor.
Thank you.
You know, as you were reflecting and then gently guiding us into that examine of conscience to kind of check ourselves, that it can be really difficult, can it not, when we are surrounded by so much.
Yes.
That whether it be in our own families or friendships or even out in the world, that it can be so oppressive sometimes that it's difficult for us to really go to that source that came into the world.
When I looked at it this morning, as I was preparing to just looking and what words do I have? What is there in me? Nothing. I need salvation. And as I came and looked at the crib and the infant, and as I was contemplating God's love by coming, what is this mystery? It's what you're dealing with and what everyone who wants to come to the crib has to begin with is that God, who made the entire universe, came and become flesh through the Virgin Mary. Now, we've been preparing for this through all of Advent, but here he is. And I look at him, and he, God, became this little baby. I am so full of weakness. And I was reminded very much of Francis when he said, not Pope Francis, but Francis, that as I come to the scene of Christmas, I am so full of misery myself, that he said that he looks around in the church and he sees all kind of corruption and depravity. But he said there's nothing he sees in that church that he doesn't see in Francis. And then he said the only place that he came, Jesus, to cleanse was my soul. And he is in me. And so I just take heart from he is the firstborn to whom I am joined. And Pope Leo the Great makes much of that. He is in me. It's up to him to cleanse me. When I look at myself corrupted by the world around me, taking on the views of those who are around me, constantly being tempted and tossed around by the world about me, that this world, Jesus, the firstborn who is in me, newly creating me, newly sustaining me, newly cleansing me, so that I can be bathed. But I must each day take the time to be cleansed by him. I would love to also, if you look at those 14 points that Pope Francis asked his curate to look at, I would think if you could take some time, everyone who's listening, if you're a bishop, if you're a priest, if you're a layperson, if you're a Muslim, get a nativity set. And then if whoever you might be, if you're Catholic, take your rosary, but just pray it around the humility of God, the mystery of God's love. God, well, look at the stars, look at the sun, look at the sky. The God who made the universe came down and became a baby for me. And pray with that. And if you're a Catholic era, if you're a Catholic, but remain in that posture, perhaps with before the Blessed Sacrament. But the power of God's love penetrating into me because He is in me, and He will cleanse me. Supposing you're a mafia person that's listening to me, and you actually have killed people deliberately. That's why He came, because He loves you. He loves you. He came to earth because He is in you, and He loves you. Supposing you're a woman who's had 4 abortions, He loves you. He understands. He is God. Be there with this God who loves you. This Christmas is the mystery of divine mercy and love. The God who made the universe has become a baby. Yet the corruption is all around us, and we are constantly in filth, and we are constantly tempted and can easily be corrupt. But the divine love, the light shone in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. He who is mighty is in us. He who is mighty has become a baby. So much does He love us. Pick the baby up. Hold the baby close to you. Whoever you may be, every human being on this planet is loved by God on this Christmas day so much, is loved by God, that God sent His own Son into the world for our salvation. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountains, that Jesus Christ is born. God bless.
Merry Christmas, Monsignor.
Merry Christmas.
Have a very happy day.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Building a Kingdom of Love, Reflections with Monsignor John Esseff. To hear and or to download this conversation, along with hundreds of other spiritual formation programs, visit discerninghearts.com, or you can find it within the free Discerning Hearts app. This has been a production of Discerning Hearts. I'm your host, Chris McGregor. We hope that if this has been helpful for you, that you will first pray for our mission, which is to offer rock-solid and authentic spiritual formation freely to souls around the world. And if you feel us worthy, consider a charitable donation, which is fully tax-deductible to help support our efforts. But most of all, we hope that you will tell a friend about discerninghearts.com and join us next time for Building a Kingdom of Love, Reflections with Monsignor John Esseff.